Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about funerals, specifically the cost of funerals, burial versus cremation, etc., etc. All while I'm eating some dinner right now, which is leftover pizza from this afternoon, which is actually really good. It's from a local place, and as you can see, the cheese on that got the nice distribution right over the pepperoni there. So, yeah, good stuff. Been a while since I've had this. They do like a garlic type of mixture on it, and it just tastes really good. Is what it is. It's not like the garlic on the crust, like the friggin' Domino's and all those places do. Is what it is. It's like actually on the cheese itself. To where if you don't really want it, you can just dust it off. But it's not like them like dumping it on like after the fact. It's them literally like putting it on and then baking it into the actual cheese and pepperoni and stuff like that. So it's not really like able to be coming off and stuff like that. Whereas with Domino's, I know they do theirs like after the fact or something. They just like brush it or something and then it's like dusting it, which is so stupid. But anyway, so the whole point I want to talk about though with the burial versus cremation thing. So went out today, had to go to the funeral home and do some stuff with mom. So we basically got everything planned for the funeral, the wake, all that stuff like that, and found out that apparently the cheapest you can do with everything when you already have a burial plot in Ohio is just under $10,000. Whereas I was talking to the dude about cremation for myself later on, down the road here in some years, decades, whatever the case be, from now. And I was like, hey, what's the cost of this right now? And he was like, oh, it's like, basically said it was like a tenth of it is what it was. It's like 12, I think it's like 1,200 or something. Minus an urn slash, that's what they call keepsakes, which is our little baby urns like that, basically. So, which only have like a minimal amount of ashes in them, apparently. Which they actually seem big enough to where you could probably put like, like a decent chunk, like basically like a good couple spoonfuls anyway in there. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. But as it is, I'm not going to be doing Buckshot Thursday or Freedom Friday next week, most likely, because the wake will take the time slot of that for Thursday, and then the actual funeral is going to be, we're going to do a mass on Friday morning, and then it's going to be a whole thing throughout the afternoon then. So I'll pretty much just be hanging out with extended family the entire day, and what have you. So actually, I was looking at this bag because I put it in the fridge there earlier and how like disgusting it looks from all the excess grease that was on this pizza. Sorry, just kind of distracted me on that one. But yeah, so basically it was, I think, like $9,600 something dollars. It was a lot of money for mom's funeral here, and that. So here's what's fucked up, actually. Just to engrave a headstone with a date of death is $250. Like, are you doing it like per friggin' letter? Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, that seems like way overpriced. Because you're literally putting like legit like, actually it's not even letters, it'd be characters, because it'd be, like an actual like 2024, and then to be, well, I guess technically you have to put that word January in there too, so that's probably a whole thing. But anyway, yeah, just sucks. But yeah, she'll be buried sometime next week is what it'll be. So about 8 days from now, give or take. And yeah, the guy was even saying like apparently for them to just break ground and then to do like the backfill or whatever there, $1,000 out the window. It's like, dude, I could grab a fucking shovel and go dig a fucking hole right now. Hell, like I could go rent a fucking backhoe and dig a damn hole in the backyard, and it'd be cheaper than that, obviously. But of course, you want to be buried next to dad, and that's an actual cemetery, so there you go. But Nah, seriously, it's just ridiculous is what it is. But again, I think that's why some people are going cremation route, because they just can't afford, the burials anymore. And it's like, how could you when you're talking about like 10 grand down the thing? And that's the low end, by the way. That's what, one of the cheapest caskets they had on the thing there is what it was, man. So, but yeah, they had a nice selection of urns in there though. When I was looking at them and stuff, they had this really cool big urn that was like yay big, give or take, and it was purple. And they had another one that was like a little slimmer, and it was nice. It was cool green, and that both of them had like, it was almost like a gold trim around them, which I thought was pretty badass. And I wish that they had like little baby keepsake versions of those, because the closest thing to the purple one, that was like a little one like that big, give or take, and it was just like a regular. It was almost like a paler purple. Not really quite like a plum, but like more like a paisley, I guess is what I'd say on that one, coloration wise. So, like it was very very light. Like it almost seemed like it was like purple mixed with something else on that coloration on there. So, but yeah, it was pretty interesting though. And yeah, for the actual cremation, it'd be, I forget exactly what the exact price was. I think it was something like 11,195 something or whatever. And then, or wait, I say 11,000, 1,100. Yeah, it was 1,195 some change or whatever. And then it was minus like keepsake / urns, and I know the big urn that I was looking at there was like $240, $250 or something like that. And the little keepsakes were $50 a piece. So potentially, you'd be looking at like another 500 on that one. So you're talking about like 17, almost $1,800. So, but yeah, versus like almost 10,000, like that's a huge difference, man, for sure. But as we were saying, mom always wanted to be buried with dad, and what it was. So that's, it was her wishes, and that's what we're gonna pay for, is what it is. So, but yeah, it's very interesting too to note that she was the second to the youngest, and of her siblings, and of the 7 of them, she's the first to go. So, I thought she was going to live to be at least 80 anyway, and she barely made it over the mark of 75 right now. I mean, I guess technically she made about halfway, because she was, I think, just over 75 and a half. So, but yeah, it sucks, man. It really does. I think I pretty much cried myself out yesterday, both on stream and off stream. And then I was even trying to, I felt sorrow today is what it was. And when I was with my siblings and my aunts, and yeah, I barely was able to shed a tear, honestly. So I don't know if my ducts are just not working, or if they're just out of fucking liquid at this point from just, having so many breakdowns yesterday is what it was. But I don't know. I feel like next Thursday, honestly, is going to be the big, not a dry in the place kind of thing. Because it'll be when we have the actual wake and, culling hours and whatever we were to call it there. Services for the viewing. And, yeah, it's not going to be fun. This is one of the few times I really wish I had somebody in my life right now. As a partner of some kind, to just be there for me, honestly. Have a chick or whatever to just be my rock, is what it'd be. So, because I try to be everybody else's, but even the strongest ones crumble sometimes. So, but yeah, just, man. And I was talking about doing an autopsy today with my sister, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna do that because it's cause of death is cardiovascular. It was mom's blood pressure. Her heart couldn't keep with the blood pressure because of the new valves and everything like that, or whatever." I don't believe that for a fucking second, by the way. I know damn well what really killed her is what it was, but I can't talk about it on here on YouTube because I'd probably get a channel strike if I did. But we all know it was the from good old starts with a P and ends with an ER. And fuck those people. Tell you what, the fact that they're not allowed to be sued for that shit, dude, is just so unconstitutional. It's not even funny. It's literally crimes against humanity is what it is, dude. They're committing against the general public at this point. And being immune from prosecution is just so fucking ridiculous. But anyway. But yeah, so basically the things we're out to do next week then would be obviously today we were talking about getting death certificates and whatnot, and then it would essentially be having the property put in probate, and then we hopefully can get through the probate pretty quickly is what it would be then. And it goes into our hands at that point as siblings is what it would be. And then we figured out from there, and I was talking to my cousin a little bit ago here, and he was mentioning something about like, oh yeah, if we could just get you to get those property taxes paid for you and stuff like that, at least that could be, it wouldn't be an issue or whatever the case be, and keeping there for at least another 6 months or so. So, but yeah, I really wish fucking goddamn Ohio government would get their fucking ass, get off the fucking asses right now and put through my damn disability. Already be done with it, man, because it's been months since I fucking talked to those douchebags, and they still haven't done the damn thing. Is what it is. Fucking pisses me off, dude. Especially when you have literal fucking doctors telling me like, oh yeah, you have no fucking range of motion at all in multiple parts of your body to where you should get 100% disability, and these fuckers are just dragging their goddamn feet is what it is, dude. So fucking pisses me off beyond belief right now, man. Because even just that, like, if I had that money coming in anyway, I could at least, afford like household expenses every month, probably, most likely. And then, I don't know if I'll have anything left after that or not, but at least I could throw like, a couple dollars maybe into a fucking savings account or something like that to just save for the eventual, property taxes and stuff like that then. But yeah, it just fucking sucks, man. I really do truly hate it, man. Especially when this house has been in our family for over 80 years now, I believe is what it is. So, because I want to say I believe my oldest aunt is like almost mid-80s now. And I believe she had just been born or was like maybe like a year or two when my grandparents bought this place. And as it is, I mean, this house is almost a historical landmark right now because it's almost a century old right now. So, yeah. And the people that lived before us only lived here for a couple of years then. So, and then they sold it to my grandparents, and then, Grandpa, they used to have an outhouse outside, obviously, because this is back in the, 30s/40s. When my mom was obviously born late 40s is what it was there. And, yeah, eventually it was in the 50s is when he and some of his buddies built on the back part of the house, because at the time there was only the room I'm sitting in right now, which is the living room, this room out here, which is our dining room that used to be the original front porch area that they ended up walling in then, and then this teeny ass little kitchen over here, the basement itself, and then I believe it was the room directly through the doorway here, and that was the original house. And then it was they had or wait, I'm trying to think now. Yeah, because I believe they built on both the back 2 bedrooms is what it was there, where I grew up as a kid then and slept for many years of my life, and then obviously mom slept, on the other side of a kind of divider thing is what it was there for. That was a long time, by the way, man. It was probably like, actually there was at one point where it was, I was my brother and I growing up, we had bunk beds up to a certain point, and then eventually I needed my own space is what it was, and he had his own space, and then he basically took over that other room, and then yeah, I was here on the one side of the room, and then mom was on the other side of the room is what it was there. So, and that's how I spent most of my preteen and teenage years in this house. And then it was, after I moved down to Columbus for a couple years and then came back, I was living in there for about another, I don't know, 3 or 4 years then. So that would have been about 2014 or 15, give or take. I think it was around 2014 maybe, is when the wall itself seemed to be not in great shape then, because I was like up against it, and I was like feeling on it one day, and it was like, felt like it was like leaking through it somehow is what it was. And then that's when we figured out like, oh shit, there's like actual like water coming through there is what it was. So we had to figure that out obviously, and unplug a bunch of the plugs and stuff like that is what it was in there. And then from there is when we actually moved me over to the other room that used to be my brother's room after he had left the house again. So, which he was gone for years at that point. We just weren't using that room as what it was. So we ended up getting another mattress in there, and then, yeah, that's where I've been living ever since, basically. So, and that's been almost a decade now. So, or close to it anyway. But yeah, you can definitely tell the house is just, it's so fucking cold in here, man. Like I'm actually surprised I'm not having this red blanket on me right now, because my hands are fucking just freezing right now. And I'm literally just trying to like warm them up against the black blanket that's actually over me right now. So, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact this house is so old and it has so many cracks and everything else in it. And then of course, the windows aren't properly sealed the way they need to be is what it is. So I know we're losing a lot of heat even from the little bit of heat that the heater over there is putting off right now. So, which of course, takes the electric up like fucking crazy every month during winter time. And that's why I hate the winters, obviously. But at the same time, it's like, I still love this place, like it's literally the last connection to my parents now is what it is, because they're both gone. And, it fucking sucks, man. It really does. And then I'm going to have to write something here in the next day or so about, to talk about the wake is what it is, because I already said I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a speech. There is what it was. And I'm still debating what I want to talk about right now, honestly, because, it's still so fresh, I think, is what the problem is. Like, I got kind of, like, my mind is, like, thinking back, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? Like, do we want to talk about it all, or do we want to just talk about the good times? And I'm like, okay, well, what good times do we have as a kid? Like, what can I really remember as a child growing up here is what it was, Like, what do I really remember about mom back then is what it was, And ironically enough, one of the first things that came to my mind was food, because there used to be in downtown Canton there, where not far from where the 62 Walmart is right now, just a little bit further down, there is this place that I'm not sure exactly what it is now. I think it's a catering place of some kind or something. But when we were kids, up until the early 2000s, like 4, 5, 6, someplace in there, whenever Hostess went out of business the first time is what it was, and then got bought out of bankruptcy basically. that place was a Wonder Hostess outlet. And every Wednesday, I believe was what it was, it was like discount day basically in that place. And it was either everything was half off or it was like, 3 for $1 or like whatever the case be there. And yeah, like I felt like a fucking king back then, man, as a kid, because it's like we would go in there, usually after school is what it was. And like the hour or so before they closed. Now, it wasn't like every Wednesday, by the way. It was maybe like once a month or once every couple months or something like that. But yeah, when we got in there, like we were going in there, Mom would usually shop. We would, get a few things here. We get some discounted bread. They had that big ass thick cut Texas toast. Oh my God, that was so good back then. I miss that. So that's the one thing I miss, I think, the most, honestly, from that place. Closing up business is like, they just had that big ass thick Texas toast, man. It was so fucking good. And by the way, that was the perfect Texas toast if you're going to make some garlic bread with your spaghetti. Yeah. You take a nice slab of butter over that motherfucker, and then you put a little bit of garlic seasoning on there, and ooh, man, that was some tasty shit. But yeah, obviously being a Wonder Hostess outlet, they obviously had, Twinkies, Ho-Hos, etc. there. And one thing I remember, and maybe this is why I was a fat ass teenager, honestly. It probably was, honestly. They would have pies. They'd have the individual pies like that. And I'm not talking about those little rinky dink ass ones they have now. I'm talking about the whole big ass fucking pie that was like it was basically half the size. Like if you put two of those together, they almost made up a fucking pie tin size of pies. Back when we didn't have shrinkflation and skimpflation, all this other bullshit. So, but yeah, that was so. I remember that so much, and it's just like people ask you like, what do you remember about your childhood? And I'm just like, I remember biting into one of them Hostess pies, a cherry one specifically, or an apple, depending, because we had both those things. They also had lemon sometimes, is what it was. And I think they had blueberry or something a couple times. I had one of those before, and I was like, it's not great, or something like that. I forget what it was. Maybe it was actually maybe it was blackberry. Now I'm thinking about it, but yeah, it didn't taste the greatest. Honestly, I didn't like that one particularly, but yeah, like almost all the time they would always have like a whole bunch, and mind you, it would be like the crate stack things, and they would just be overflowing. And I want to say it was at least 2 for $1. I know that for a fact, and I think maybe it was 3 for $1 back then. Or no, actually, come to think of it, I think on the discount days it was 4 for $1. So yeah, you're talking, and mind you, this is like 90s, but even still, it's like, dude, that was some good ass fucking pricing back then on those discount days. So yeah, we'd usually get like 4, which so it'd be like 1 for each of us kids, and then 1 for Mom. Usually is what it would be then. And then as I got older, and siblings went away to college, etc. There, Mom and I would still go there, and she'd be like, "Just get 4, man. Like I'll eat 1, you can have the other 3, basically." So, and she kind of, I'm not gonna sit there and say she made me fat because I'm not gonna blame her for that one, by the way, either. But yeah, she definitely she was a pseudo enabler, honestly, for sure, when it came to, things. But at the same time, it's like, it is what it is, man. Everybody's got to eat to live is what it is, And that's the problem with, food and fitness and everything else like that. And unfortunately, when you get big enough and then you have health problems because you're big and stuff, and then you can't work out too much because you got bad ankles or bad hands or arthritis in your bones, etc. And yeah, it's just a fucking pain in the ass. And that's also a vicious cycle for that matter, because it's like you want to eat to live, but at the same time, you can't shed the pounds, unfortunately. And that's one of the things I'm having problems with right now, is what it is, which hopefully, I know that she did say about before she passed, she wanted us to go on a diet, or at least start eating more healthy anyway. So I think maybe that's what I'll do for the next year or so here, is just start, improving my diet a little bit here and there, and trying to lose some weight, trying to fulfill what she was never able to accomplish herself while she was still with us. I mean, she did lose weight at the end, honestly, but it wasn't by choice, man. It was crazy amount of water weight that she dumped, and she looked, like I said, if I had gone back to Christmas or just after Christmas, when I saw her, I thought back then, I was like, she's not gonna make it the next couple of days, and she made it a couple more days, and then she made it a couple more days, and then my birthday came around and we were talking, and she was happy because she was able to stand for the first time since the surgery. And then, fucking week later, she's gone. Oh, man. I feel like this is going to happen quite a bit going forward. I was talking to the neighbors today, and mentioned about mom passing. My neighbor's like, "No way, man." And like she was saying, she's like, "No, I was waiting for your mom to just come, breezing back through the door is what it was." And yeah, just didn't happen. Like I was saying yesterday, though, I think she's in a better place now. I hope. I hope. Anyway. I hope she's with dad and they're just chilling. Just chilling with the uncles and everybody. Obviously, they'd be chilling with Grandpa Rogers too. Now I think about it. That's once I forgot yesterday, actually, because my dad's dad would have been up there too, hopefully. So, yep. And of course, my second or third cousin. I'm not sure what she was to me, honestly. She ended up having being in a fatal car crash a few years ago in Oregon at the age of 17. So she's up there with mom probably too. But anyway. And then of course Uncle Carl. I forgot about him too yesterday. He's been there for a few years as well. So he'd probably just be chilling out on the bonfire. Oh God. I miss Uncle Ralph the most, I think, right now. My aunt was talking about him today. And about some stuff with his funeral and whatnot. And she got him cremated, and it still burns me up that I never got a chance to see him, one final time, because, it's one of those things where you're just like, when nobody tells you that that happened, and you're like expecting to go to a wake and see the casket with his body in it, and all you see is this fucking urn full of his cremains and a picture next to it of him in his better days. That is one thing I will say about, Mom, is that with her having a straight funeral, we will have that chance to say goodbye that way. Yeah. Feel like the emotions, man, it's just, sometimes I kind of wish I could just shut it off. Just let it fucking go. But, you can't because, you love these people. And you realize that every single one of them that goes is just one step closer to you going. And then you have no idea if there's anything on the other side. It's nice to talk about heaven and hell and all that stuff like that. But who's to say these are real places or not? I think hell is for sure, because, there's way too many demons walking the earth now from that place. I'd like to think heaven exists. I'd like to think the gates are there. I'd like to think, Jesus is seated at the right hand of the Father, all that stuff that I was taught growing up Christian. But who knows if it is or not, man. I guess only time will tell. Just so infuriating, so sad. You just want to fucking scream at the sky and pound your fucking fists and be like, why? Why now? Why like this? And then you know why, and you're fucking, again, we can't talk about these things because goddamn fucking YouTube's bullshit terms of service. Fuck you, Google, you pieces of shit. It's fucking freedom of speech, you bastards. Yeah, it's getting to be too much anymore, man. I honestly don't know how much longer I can keep it together. It's like when people talk about tethers and stuff like that and what tethers you, and grounds you, and unfortunately there's not much anymore, man. You got those tethers holding you in place, and it's just, you know, one more gone, one more, you know, snaps loose, all that stuff like that, and then next thing you know, you're just railing, man. And your racer's edging it. You're having bad thoughts. Obviously, I'm not going to do anything, but, you know, it's there, and it's not good. So, kind of just wish I could go to sleep and wake up in a different place and fucking different time, and, you know, everybody's still here. Which makes me want to kind of start writing the book again, or at least a book anyway. That's exactly that, honestly. It's just, you know, go to sleep one night, you wake up, you know, 50, 60 years in the past is what it would be. And the people you love are still there, but they're way younger now. And you get to see them and have experiences with them during those times. That's the one thing about my mother, man. Like, she worked so fucking hard for what little she had. And what little she was able to provide for us is what it was. And then you got pieces of shit out there like fucking Soros and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the fucking name globalist elite piece of shit here and there, or some fucking douchebag in Congress like that fucker Chuck Schumer, who've done absolutely fucking nothing to get what they have right now, except lie, cheat, steal, scheme, destroy humanity as much as they possibly can. And you think to yourself, you know, what the hell's the point of even fucking being good anymore? You know? But then you realize it's going to be that goodness, that, you know, godly warrior spirit that's going to be what destroys these fuckers in the long run. It's going to be that light that destroys that darkness, that pure evil in this world. And it brings you back down and tethers you again. Now is the time, I think, to start doing good, to start being a better person. To start dealing with the evil in this world. That's about all I got for today, man. To reiterate, you know, as we were saying at the beginning of this, cost of a funeral versus cost of cremation in Ohio. It's about $8,000 difference, give or take. That's with a burial plot too, by the way. I have no idea what it would be if I had to go buy one of those right now. Probably several more $1,000s on top of that. So, you know, you're talking about with burial plot already existing, you know, $8,000 difference. Without one, probably twice that would be my guess, honestly. But yeah, it's like, I think the most disgusting thing too, and this is something that the funeral director even mentioned today, was how the only thing keeping newspapers afloat right now is obituaries. So quite literally, the only thing keeping a dying media, being print media right now, alive is death. Literally. It's like, that's so pathetic, dude, entirely. And what he was saying with that was, it used to be, 10, 20 something years ago, if someone died, it would they would automatically do like a little blurb or whatever the case be like, X, Y, and Z has passed away, unexpectedly or whatever the case be, funeral services, or like call, whatever the funeral places, whatever, something like that would be then. Now, no. As he said nothing's free anymore. It's not even per word they charge to do obituaries, dude. It's per letter, per character. And as he was saying, I guess some of these obituaries that aren't even that big, they're like maybe like yay big or so. It's like $500 something for those things, dude. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Outrageous. Completely outrageous. But that is one thing we're not wasting money on. Most of our people, most of her friends that are out here that don't really directly, or most of the family that's already, elderly and don't directly know about it already is what it is. They'll know about it soon is what it is. So, and the ones that don't, the family, the friends, etc., will find out about it on social media is what it is there. So, in the coming days. But I already made it known on my own Facebook page earlier today about, hey, this is happening here. Like, knowing that, mom had passed is what it was. And then had a few people show who actually gave a fuck is what it was, seems like. And ironically enough, it's the people I've only known for a few years, honestly, that are all pro 2A as fuck. So hopefully they'll come out to the wake then. We can hang out and talk and bullshit. And, I know the old shop owner was one of them. He's been a best friend to me for years now. And hopefully Tony will be there then too. So, yeah, he's always been a good guy. I mean, it might have been a philanderer for many, many years, but he was still a good guy is what it was, man. And, of course, he's been married for some years now and seems like finally found the right woman to keep him tethered is what it was there. So, that's good. But, anyway, pretty sure they're still married anyway. As far as I saw last year, I think they were still married is what it was. So, pretty sure they're still going strong is what it is there. But, yeah, he's a good dude. And he's always been there for me when I needed him. He was one of the few people that knew about, the Fed SWAT before everybody else did what it was, because he was a trusted friend, trusted colleague, trusted, confidant, etc. So, whereas I wouldn't trust that with everybody then when it first happened. Now I don't go fuck who knows. Now I'm like, hell yeah, fucking fuck the FBI, etc. there, dude. Bunch of fucking jackbooted scumbags. But anyway. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't know if I'll do a Freedom Friday tomorrow or not. I think I'm going to try. I think maybe depends if I can actually get through it or not. There are stories I want to talk about. There were stories I want to talk about with Buckshot today too, but I didn't get a chance to do that either. So, because there's definitely some 2A stuff that's happening this week and is going to happen next week is what it is that I want out there before it happens. This is one thing I will mention too, by the way, at the end of this Grandstand right now is that stupid fucking cunt Susan Collins from Maine is going to try and introduce some bullshit red flag law stuff next week that directly targets vets in this country, and I believe active military too, for that matter. And it's just such unconstitutional crap, dude. Like, she needs to be tossed out of office entirely for that crap right there, dude. They all need to be at this point. If you are directly infringing upon people's rights, your ass needs to be gone because you are the tyrants our founding fathers warned us about. And it's as simple as that, really. You need to be kicked out of office. You need to be cuffs slapped on for deprivation of law, etc., and dealt with accordingly with a long-ass prison sentence. So, anyway. But, and then, of course, you got the Pennsylvania House right now. Their state house is what it is there. Trying to push some BS gun control through, too, right now. And they probably have the votes to do it, honestly, because they're all a bunch of Democrat cheaters over there, too, for that matter. So, and that's one thing I was talking to my sister about before they left today. I was like, yeah, you know, what do we have to do to get mom with the voter rolls right now? And my sister's like, yeah, we're good. As soon as she'll be declared dead now is what it is, and they'll immediately purge her is what it'll be then. So it's like, well, I'm going to go ahead and test that theory right now to be like, call them up fucking Secretary of State's office tomorrow and be like, hey, just want to confirm that she's out these voter rolls now, dude, because she's been dead for 2 days. So, anyway, and she was legally declared dead yesterday is what it was, which would be today, obviously. But anyway, yeah. Thing about mom was, you know, like, as far as I'm aware, she died as a technical legal Democrat voter, but honestly, she really was in between parties is what it was. Like, she was more of an independent than anything else, but clearly Ohio doesn't recognize that shit anymore is what it is. But yeah, most of the time I think she was actually voting Republican. So, at least in the last couple of election cycles anyway. But yeah, that's the whole thing. And yeah, it sucks, man, to know that she's gone now and she's not coming back. And then you think to yourself and you're just like, how much longer do I have? You know, kind of thing. It's like, is my clock ticking? You know? I almost wish I knew, honestly. Like in that one Nickelback music video. The one for Saving Me, I think that's what it was. Where the guy saves some other dude from almost stepping out in traffic and dying or whatever. And then it basically leads to him being able to now see everybody's lifespans. And of course, you know, there's like an old woman being, you know, carted off in an ambulance, and you just see her clock going way down, way fast. And of course, all the way to 0. And it's like, yeah, it'd be nice to know, honestly, how long people have left. Whether it be myself or whether it be, you know, everybody around me right now. Because at least then I would know and I could, you know, spend time with everybody. Especially the ones with shorter time spans left. But unfortunately, only God knows what our final day is. Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be 60 fucking years from now, for all I know. hell, could be a situation where, we can take a little bit of fucking DNA from somebody and just clone their ass. Although to be fair, I mean, if we're gonna talk about that, obviously you got, I don't know how much I can get into this, but there's possibility that's already happening right now with, celebrities, elitists, etc. there. So, which I don't know, man. Like, if I had the ability right now, like, would I take some of my mom's DNA and clone like a better version of her? Like, well, and by that I mean like a healthier version of her. Without the Parkinson's, without the, you know, ulcerative colitis, all that stuff like that she had at the end. And the answer is probably yeah. Honestly, I probably would. Just to have a couple more days. Couple more good days. Ironically enough, just sitting here right now, I'm actually not feeling too bad. I mean, I'm aching a little bit, but not as much as I used to be. Maybe it's letting the emotions out. Maybe that's what's been hurting my body so much, is just keeping everything bottled up. All the worry, all the stress, all the heartache, all the agony. I don't know, man. What I do know is I don't know what the fucking future looks like. And it scares the shit out of me. It really does. I don't know if we'll be in a civil war by the end of this year. I don't know if I'll even make it another 6 months in this fucking place. It's bad, man. It's really bad. I just hope we can get a chance to talk to the lawyer then next week and get this probate done real quick, and everything goes to us as next of kin. Then is what it'll be. And then we can at least figure out the beginnings of something then. As 3 siblings, one of which is actually sitting in the house right now and has lived here for many, many years and really doesn't want to leave, honestly. Especially not when this is the last thing tethering my family. There's a bunch of pictures out in the dining room there of my mom and all of her sisters when they graduated. They've been lining that top shelf for as long as I've been alive, at least, I think. Probably longer, even. I think it was something Grandma Pioski had. And my sister was asking my 2 aunts today, like, oh, do you guys want these photos? Like, maybe when everybody's here, just give everybody their fucking photo now. And I don't know, man. Like, it's not going to be the same if that happens, obviously. Like, I mean, I'm not against them having their photos, but, like, at the same time, it's like, you're used to just walking out there and seeing them all. And, now you're going to walk out there and see how much empty spaces would it be then? Maybe the memories can be made in it, but, it's never going to be the same. It's like, is this really what my mom would have wanted? Honestly, I don't think it was. Honestly, Like the whole point of having them was have everybody, together. Having her and all of her siblings together. There's what it was, at least, one place. Now it's just, it's like you're breaking it up, man. So I don't know. It bothers me. It really does. Oh God. I know I'm gonna be emotional wreck next week this time. I have no idea. No idea what else is gonna happen then. Oh man. It doesn't feel real. I think it's about to, and that's what scares me, honestly. It's like I haven't seen moms. I haven't seen moms since then. Knowing the next time I was here is gonna be the final time. Oh God. At least with Daddy, I was so fucking young. I didn't remember. And like, yeah, I saw pictures and I've been told stories of the man. I know he was a loving dude. I know he was a great man. I know he was, a war veteran. But I never really had that personal connection because I was only 2.5 years old. And now it's 36 something years later now. And, you've had all this time and you've grown up with a woman. And you grew up with the uncle who was like a father to you. Of course, he's gone almost 2 years now, is what it is. And now you're looking at your mom and you're just like, why? Why'd you have to do it, man? Like, why'd you make that stupid ass decision? And then you look at your aunts who've also done it, who've also taken the shit. And it's just like, how much longer until y'all are gone, too? That's what I worry about right now. Because I know at least 2 of them locally they've gotten it. We've only got 3 locally, and I'm not sure if the third one took it or not. And it makes me wonder, it's like, how much longer? How much longer until we are repeating the same fucking bullshit process over again? Is it going to be this year? Is it going to be next year? Is it going to be 2026? eventually it's going to be one of those things where it just wears me away, man. It's going to be just, oh, God. I like to get super emotional on these streams, but I think now is exactly that time to do it. Because if not now, then when? But yeah, it's a whole thing, man. I just realized the pizza's still sitting here. I haven't eaten it yet. It's just getting warm. So that is good pizza. Actually, it's got almost room temperature now, and it kind of tastes better now from being cold for a couple hours. But yeah, it's just, it's emotional. It's an emotional wreck. I know I'm not the only one who's lost people in the last couple of years here. I know, poor Corey, we talked earlier today about the whole thing, and he said about losing, he lost his mom a couple of years ago too, and for him, she was the first of, I think, 5 in like a year time span. And that's kind of what I'm worried about right now with my own family. It's like, is my mom going to be the catalyst that just starts this domino effect? And I fucking hope to God she's not. Because I, like I said, I don't know how much more I can handle, man. At any given time, it's just, it's razor's edge, man. I need to contact somebody pretty soon about some stuff. And I'll leave it at that. So, I think you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it. And if you don't know, then you don't know, and who cares, honestly, at that point. But if you know what I'm talking about and you're in the know, good for you. Like I said, I don't want to. I want to be here. I got life left to live. But at the same time, it's so fucking hard. Lord, grant me the strength to go one more day. And then one more day, and then one more day after that. And then just keep on going. I talked to my brother today. I asked him how my niece was doing with all this. And he said about what I thought it was going to be, which is that she's an emotional wreck. And it makes sense. You know, she's not even 10 yet. She's already lost both of her fucking grandmothers. I think she lost an uncle too, if I'm not mistaken, a while ago. Which was on her mom's side. Or maybe it was like a cousin. I forget which. Honestly, it was some death on that side before everything, though. So yeah, I just gotta keep strong, man. Gotta keep it together. Gotta be that guy. Be there for the kids, man. Be that rock for them to stand on. And sit down on if they need to, and just have a place for them to be where they can just have a good cry. Lord. I remember hearing the old saying about God takes us when he wants us, but I don't know if I believe that shit, honestly. I think that's just some made up crap people want to sit there and say to fucking make somebody feel better. And sure as shit don't make me feel any better right now, honestly. But at least mom's friends know. Well, the ones that are important know anyway. Other ones will find out here and there, so. And of course, one of her best friends knows, and of course our elderly cousin knows that we all honestly thought was going to die way before mom did. But no, she's still kicking. She's not in great shape herself, obviously, but she's over 90 years old and she's still here, man. So I was kind of honestly hoping that's what mom would be, 15-ish years down the road. She would get to know her grandkids from me. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. And it pisses me off, honestly, dude, that things went the way they went, because I feel like there's another universe version of me out there someplace that was so much better, that got my shit together, that never had my health problems. It got married young at 22 or 23 and had a bunch of kids. And those kids are all known to their grandma and probably grandpa too, for that matter. Because in that universe, both parents are alive. And then maybe in that universe, that version of me died in his 40s or his 50s. Or even his 30s, for that matter. Maybe I made a widow in that universe myself. Hell, maybe that was the universe. Well, no. Never mind. I was going to say maybe that was the universe where I died of colon cancer, but that wouldn't happen because I wouldn't have been on the drugs that caused the shit to begin with. So, because in that universe, I would never taken the stupid ass fucking shit that caused the whole fucking ICU trip in the first place. In 20 years of fucking hell and misery in my life. And like I said, it just goes back to, daily pain and struggles and constant fucking agony. Even just sitting here right now, my kneecap is hurting, fucking ankle's killing me. It's like just once, just a couple days, man, a week maybe. Just wish I could not be in pain. Just feel something. It's just not pure fucking agony constantly. Then, of course, you got Dickhead DeWine talking about, we need to get rid of this Delta 8 now in Ohio, even though it's not been a fucking problem for years now. They're trying to make it a fucking problem. Maybe that's exactly what I need right now, honestly, is just go to a fucking convenience store around here, find one that sells the stuff, and just buy a couple packs of gummy things from it, and just, slice a sliver off here and there, whatever the case be, and just take away my pain for a while. I say that obviously because I've talked to people that have, taken this stuff before, and they said if you take enough of it, you're fucked up for a long time. So I don't really need to get fucked up. I just need to get, to a point where I'm just not in constant fucking writhing pain. So if that means just, literally taking the knife and just going like that, and taking like a little teeny piece or something, and just, like I'm taking a fucking pill or something. That's what it means, man. So, anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much over this stream, I think, honestly. We went longer than I wanted to go, obviously, but, I think it's important to see the real me right now, honestly. And if that means you're seeing an emotional wreck, then that's what that means. And if you enjoy what you're seeing, hit that fucking subscribe button. Because there'll be a hell of a lot more of this to come, honestly, I think, in the coming days, in the next week or so. And if you just want to hear about 2A related stuff or constitutional based stuff, again, hit that fucking sub button. Let's get this channel up to what my old one used to be, is what it is. Which I'm still working on that one to get that back. Unfortunately, it's taking a little bit longer than it needed to, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll have that back then and be done with it then. So if you see me start posting on there again, you'll know exactly what happened then. Which is I was able to either fight the strike or dispute the strike and get back into the account, etc., and then go from there, basically. So, but yeah, that's the whole thing. And other than that, though, that's pretty much where we're at for the day currently. So, yeah, have a good one, y'all. Hopefully you're doing better than I am right now, because I am not doing great, unfortunately. And it would be nice to be doing a lot better and be in a better place, honestly, right now. In a better headspace, in a better time period of my life. Going back and talking about the 90s for a minute before we do leave. Like I said, with the hostess thing there, and it's not just that, it's, just that whole time in my life, man. Like, being a fucking kid, it's something I miss right now, honestly. It's, it was so much fucking easier back then, Yeah, there was this Altman's band in my childhood, but I didn't fucking know about it. I didn't really give a shit about it, honestly, because I didn't know about politics back then, because I was a fucking kid. I was doing kid stuff. I was playing fucking, tag and fucking riding around bike. And I didn't ride bikes, obviously, because I couldn't fucking ride a bike. But yeah, I was, playing around the fucking yard with the siblings. I was playing with my fucking friends at school. We were hanging out at each other's houses, doing stuff, playing video games, etc. I had a friend named Pete back then. He was a good guy. Used to hang out at his place a lot, and we used to play like Sega or PlayStation or something like that. And I missed that kid, man. He was probably my first best friend, honestly. And that was like the 3rd or 4th grade when he was around, and then by the time 5th and 6th grade was there, he was gone because his family moved to, I think it was Cuyahoga Falls or something. And then, 7th grade came around and it wasn't great, and then had to repeat that grade again in a different school system, and met the first love of my life, really is what it was. And she treated me like I was a piece of shit, basically. I was so friend zoned, I didn't even know I was friend zoned till it was too late. And I wasted over a year of my life on that girl. And many years after that, honestly, unfortunately. Actually, sorry, no, I wasted 2 years of my life on that girl because it was 8th grade and freshman year of high school. And I could have had something with somebody else right now, and I could have, and again, it's these coulda, woulda, shouldas. It's, one of the girls who was saying some stuff back to me about, sorry for the loss of your mom and stuff like that. Remember many years ago, seeing her at the funeral of my neighbor guy, and it's been at least 10 plus years now. And I think to myself back then, I was like, I was going to go up and talk to her that day, and she was randomly talking with some other dude. And as it turned out, that dude is now her husband and father of her kids. And for all I know, it could have been a situation of I was that fucking guy that day. And I could be the father of her kids now. So it's a missed opportunity, I think, because that was a girl I definitely could have been with in high school, I believe. And her and I were talking all through the summer of between junior high and high school, and about to get something going there. And then, of course, some fucking older guy, zips up in there and, cock blocks you there and fucking, completely ruins your day. And then, you hear about the girl that you used to be in love with, and you think maybe, oh, now's your fucking chance. And no, it never fucking was. And the worst thing is, I would have given that girl the fucking best life she could have had. If only she'd given me a chance. But instead, she gave her Tom, Dick, and Harry a fucking chance. And what did it lead to? It led to her being a single mother and getting beat on by some piece of shit for a while of her life. Ended with her in a fucking prison cell for some years of her life. Getting back out, making something of herself, and now, as far as I'm aware, she's married, living in California currently. So, I don't know if she's doing that good over there or not anymore, but yeah. For all I know, it's all just a front. But yeah, I wasted so much time with that woman. Years of my life I wish I could get back, honestly. Because it could have led to something else with someone else. And like I said, maybe that's what it is. Maybe going back, to the other self, to a different self, to another universe. Maybe that happened. Maybe it was that funeral. I met that other chick again, and we were bullshitting and having a good time. And obviously it's funeral, wake, whatever you can call it. They're calling hours, so it's not like you're having a good time, but you're discussing. Oh yeah, I remember that time in high school. I remember that time in middle school, etc. And yeah, you just have a reconnect, and you just realize that you actually do have more in common than you thought, and you're both in a place where you're single, kind of thing, and it is what it is. So, and then again, who's to say it's not a situation where that person has a friend that they're gonna that's single right now, and they introduce you to that person, and that's your future wife. I don't know, man. I don't know what the future looks like, honestly, but that would be a damn interesting one if that were the case. Or hell, maybe it's the guy that girl married. Maybe it's that dude that has a fucking female friend or sister or something that becomes your future wife. And you have a couple kids down the road, and your mom never got to meet those kids. But it was her funeral that facilitated that beginning. That new beginning. So, I don't know, man. With every time, though, it's getting harder and harder. It's so much harder to think positively now because everything seems to be negative anymore. Lord. I don't know, man. All I will say, though, is that about a half hour, I know NEA is going to be doing his chat tonight, so I figure we'll just finish up here then and maybe have a good cry off camera again. And then go from there, basically. But yeah, it's the whole thing, and it makes me very much I don't even know where I was going with that. I just lost my train of thought entirely. Yeah, I honestly don't know what the hell I was going to say there. I think I just kind of trailed off is what it was, but yeah, I noticed today I was having some shakes in my hands, and now I'm kind of worried if I didn't inherit mom's Parkinson's. And again, it could have just been a little blood sugar, but I don't know. I know I'd eaten a little bit before that, so it shouldn't have been an issue. Unless maybe it was dehydration or something that was causing it, because my mouth was a little bit dry, but even still, I mean, it just, I don't know, man. Something just didn't seem right. And now I'm kind of fighting about that too, because it's like, with everything else, who the fuck's to say that's not a thing at some point? So, because I know that when the doctors are talking to her about it, they said it is an inherited disease. It's an inherited fucking genome and stuff. So who the fuck to say I don't have it? Oh, God, if it's not one thing, it's another. So, anyway. But yeah, we'll, I'll be back tomorrow probably. Most likely do Freedom Friday around 5 or 6 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow afternoon. And then we'll go from there and figure some things out. And hopefully Corey and a couple other people can join the panel for the day and take the burden off me. And if nothing else, I just have to, go off camera for a few minutes and just have a good cry and whatnot. They can just be there to take over and bullshit or whatever the case be for a few minutes. So, and I will give a big prop to Corey, man. He's been there for me all this week. He's topped me off the ledge more than once this week already. Thank you, brother. Been the best friend a man could ask for right now. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.